even longer. But let's move forward a little bit. We can kind of come back to that. Preventative measures, so checking in with the attitude, paying attention to market reports on a weekly basis. Who just took a dip from last week? Week to week, are your numbers worse than last week? Then we need a one-on-one. Or if it depends, right? Like if you're closing at 50, 60% and you only had 2 appointments and one no-showed and one just didn't close, like no, you don't necessarily need to press that person. But if the numbers are really low and they're not closing and also attitude is maybe a little bit down, morale's a little bit down, you definitely want to be there to emotionally refuel that person and then see what are they saying that I kind of tweak so that they can, get their confidence up. And standard coaching plan for underperforming reps. I've said this to you guys in a lot of different ways. I don't think I've ever really outlined it on paper before. So the number one thing that you want to do is attributes. You want to identify an authentic attribute about that person. Lindsay and Samantha, we talked about this on calls before. So you want to sit down and list out talents and attributes that you recognize them when times were good. This has to be things that they know about themselves to be true. This is the biggest thing there. So this is basically what makes you great at this, is how you're pitching it to them. So is it that they're a hard worker? Is it that they're organized, competitive, a go-getter, positive, smart, confident? Whatever it is, there's an attribute about that person that you can tie in to what we do here that's going to make them successful. The goal there is to help them recognize something in themselves, again, that they know to be true, that you can connect as a key attribute that is vital to be successful in the position. This causes alignment in their workplace, alignment in job satisfaction. Again, the goal is to help them recognize something in themselves that they know to be true, and then you connect that to how to be successful in this position. What questions do you guys have about that? Who's done that with somebody recently or in the past in any way, shape, or form?
It's definitely the approach I took with Zach over the winter.
Perfect. I try to do it with people when they're role playing up top, because again, the second that they hear something that they already believe in, they're like, I got it. Like, I'm gonna keep doing that. I don't want to try so much to teach people how to be something different, but I'd rather have them lean on whatever is supernatural for them. For the most part, you really want to lean into what your strengths are. So number one, attributes. Identify authentic attributes with the rep on what makes them successful in the position and how they have won in the past. The second part about that is then you want to have an open conversation. So once you have a clear idea of the attributes your rep should be using to be successful, have an open-ended conversation with them. Instead of bringing up their performance reports or complaining about missed goals, ask them how they think they're doing and where they think they could improve. Why is that important in that moment?
It's basically like just in sales pitch, we're preparing or getting them to answer the question for themselves.
Yeah.
To also see where their mental state is, like if they think that they're doing everything they can, but like the numbers are clearly showing something different, that makes a huge difference in the conversation that you're about to have.
And then over time, if you're basically training them how to think, and then you have to do less of these conversations because they now have built this internal habit of answering these questions themselves and talking to themselves. And that's how you guys as leaders can create more leaders who can also pass down that same knowledge and process to other people. Once they open up and share concerns with you, ask how they think they can improve their sales performance. Mention the attributes that you both know they have and ask how they think these talents will work in their favor. Again, in this moment, they essentially have to talk themselves through it, which is what you want. If you can build that habit of them answering those questions over and over and over, just like Moses said, it's kind of like the sales process, they've sold themselves on it. As their leader, you may see obvious solutions. Like you guys are gonna want to come in and say, you're doing X, Y, and Z wrong, don't do that, just do this, right? It's a simple thing, and that's how I think, and that's kind of where I go wrong with a lot of you guys all the time, when I just need to slow down and ask more questions and talk you through it so that you understand the thought process for yourself. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to keep having that same conversation every week or every 2 weeks over and over and over because it's my words that I'm dumping on you and it's not your idea. So again, as your leader, you may see obvious solutions, but try to guide them in the right direction so they can come to these conclusions themselves. They're more likely to adopt new practices if it is their idea or if they feel like it was. Why is that true, Brad?
Because everybody wants to be self-sufficient at some point, so if they're not being told what to do, they're being, thinking like it's their idea, they're going to follow that, make it a habit.
Yep. And just like our customers, if you tell me, it's got to go through my skeptical filter. And depending on the day, depending on my emotions, how much sleep I had, or what's going on in my personal life, I might completely reject it, but also might just be like, oh yeah, Brad, that was perfect. I'm gonna try that next time, right? But if you ask me a series of questions, and again, that is my idea, and I align with what you said, I feel like that attribute is super true. I did close a couple of deals last month, and I did have confidence and high energy in that moment. And now I know that that's just what I need to keep doing, no matter what the day feels like, no matter if it's raining or not. I'm going to do that. I just came up with that game plan myself, and you just kind of helped me do that. So that's what the conversation should really feel like, just a lot of questions. But the questions have to come from believable figures, which is you guys who have the results, you have the status, you have all the things that you're trying to get to, so you have their attention. Once you have their attention, you start to kind of train them how to think for themselves. So again, you guys can create more self-sufficient reps, and then ultimately create more leaders.